everybody. Ron Wildman in here on Middle Georgia Spotlight. It's shining on Roger Jackson. NFL season just started, and it's going to be a season like we've never seen before. And Roger's going to tell what it was like back then and what he thinks about it now.
Well, it's a different game. Everything is so commercialized now, and publicized, and everything counts. And from the little things to the big things, and everybody's on an even keel, but playing back in the days, it was a great time.
The down on the field stuff, crunch time, is it pretty much the same?
No, now, they have computers, they have tablets, they have all of those things on the sideline, so a coach can pull the plays up, the previous play that you was in the game, and pull it up and show you your mistake you made and show you the defense, all that transpired. When I played, they sent down Polaroids, on a clothesline, and it came from the press box down from the development room in the press box, and then the coach got it and he showed you each phase of that play and show you your exact movement and your mistake you made, or if it was a great play, then it showed you they're going to come back and they're going to change it another way, so be on the lookout for it.
Let's back up a little bit. Where did you first get involved in football?
Right here in Macon, Georgia.
You were from over at Tyndall Heights.
Tyndall Heights, and I played at B.S. Ingram, then at Eugene Hamilton, and then over at Miller B, and then on to Central.
Those grade school teams were a big deal back in those days.
They was a big deal. It wasn't much as far as a little league then. You had elementary football. And no midget league. I couldn't think of midget league football then. And that came about years later. But elementary schools, we had our own league. And it was an outstanding time then because either your big brother coached you, and the guys in the neighborhood heroes coach you. And you just came up on the, heroes of directing you in a good path.
That led to Central High School.
Yes.
What were those years like?
Those great years. We haven't had a team like that since 1975. We won the state championship. We had an All-American quarterback in Michael Jolly. And I came up with some All-American guys that played before me. Matt Guess and David Taylor and Day and the Putnam brothers, and I played with Stan. We was in the same class, but we had some great guys back then, and we had some outstanding coaches. And I'm still in touch with those that are still living now today. Coach Sewell and Coach Mike Williams and Coach Lazier and Coach Reed. Those guys there, and really did a great job in molding us into men.
You went from Central High School to
Bethune-Cookman.
That's down in Florida.
Daytona Beach.
Daytona Beach.
Daytona Beach.
Not bad duty, was it?
No, it wasn't. I tease people now, I tell them, like I would tell you, I was your complexion when I went to Daytona, and they got me today. But, we had times to be beach bums, and there were times where we had jobs on the beach side. We always could have employment if we wanted it. I had a coach that told me when he recruited me, you'll be able to pick oranges out of your dormitory window. But when I got there wasn't an orange tree in sight. But great time there. Bethune-Cookman has a great legacy of athletics. We have an all-around program in every sport. In football, we've done an outstanding job in maintaining, being up in the upper echelon of athletics and on the football field. They graduate their athletes from there. We put a good product on the field, and we're worldly known for our marching band. They are outstanding to this day.
A lot of people go to see that band.
A lot of people go to see the band. They can care less about football.
You played defensive back with Bethune-Cookman. Did you play any offense there?
No offense there. I was a punt returner, and that was my time to shine on offense, and get the ball in good field position for our offense. And I had a coach there, Coach Alvin Wyatt, and he was an NFL player, and he's one of the main punt returners back in the days when he was in the NFL, but he was outstanding when he was in college. He scored about over 20-some touchdowns in kick return and punt returns in college. That was unheard of. But he was keen on it, and he taught me the ins and outs of punt return. And I had a good career at Bethune-Cookman, you know. And if I had to do it all over again, I'd go the same route. And but if I didn't have to graduate, I'd stay there forever. No bills, no anything.
You were a good student too, weren't you?
Yes, I was. Yes, I was. You know, and that was one of the things that comes back to Bibb County. You know, being at Central and coming up in a school of that caliber, which it is still today. You know, it's an IB school now, but have an IB program, International Baccalaureate. But coming through Central, which the old Lanier, you know, that was your academic school.
Tradition.
It stays there, you know.
Yeah.
But I had teachers then that really forced education on me, and I mean, I took it for granted. But once I got to Bethune, you know, I found out what they was forcing on me was the best thing that ever happened to me, because I wound up being winning the Scholastic Award for the highest grade point average for the athletes, you know, at Bethune. And that year when I won, you know, I had the highest grade point average of over the females, everybody, you know, volleyball, soccer, you know, and tennis, you know, the golf team, you know. I was like, hey, I beat everybody out, you know, for the award.
Did that mean a lot to you?
That's probably the best award that I cherish to this day.
Oh, that's
you know,
wonderful
because
to hear that.
you know, when I got the award, you know, we were like just jocks.
Yeah.
But when I got the award, and being that I was pretty well known,
Beat those girls.
I beat those girls. And then it became the student athlete, you know, and I brought that. You know, I like to say I brought that name to Bethune-Cookman. You know, we're student athletes, and all the girls on campus and all, you know, the guys was like, you know, there he is. You know, he has a grade point average. You know, and it was like 3.75. You know, and it's I cherish that. You know, because now I can tell the kids today, you know, I wasn't just a jock. You know, I was a real bona fide student athlete. You know, and I have the trophy to show it. That's one of the trophies that I cherish to this day. You know, and my mom, she takes pride in it too.
Well, that's wonderful, Roger, to hear that and see the joy in your face as you tell that story, too. Now, you graduated, and did you want to go into pro football?
No.
Never thought of it?
Never thought about it.
Wow,
you know, I went to Bethune-Cookman to become a coach and become a teacher and come back to Bibb County and get involved, do the things that Coach Brody, Coach Reynolds, Ms. Cleo Roberts, Robert Reed, Eddie Bryan, Miss Jolly, all those people had an impact on me. Miss Phillips, you know, everybody knows her, you know, from student government. Yes. And but those teachers inspired me, you know, to be like them. You know, the time that they took out back then, and pushing me forward in education. And then when I got to Bethune and I got that Scholastic Award. You know, I knew I was going to be a scholar teacher when I come back to Bibb County. But then in my junior year, the athletic part kind of took off. My roommate got drafted. Players who was getting drafted and was getting a chance to go into the NFL. And then I was looking at them like, I think I'm better than them right now. You know, I'm getting the recognition. And my coach told me, say, you need to start channeling your energy a little bit more into football and training. And one thing that Coach Wyatt always said, and Coach McLaren, you know, there's 24 hours in a day, so you can't say you don't have time. And then you in Florida.
I was told that one time, too, years ago.
And the thing about it is, like, you're in Florida, so the weather's always conducive for you to train, you know, whether you get up early or whether you train at night, you know. And we had a pole out there, we could hit the light switch, and the lights come on, and we can train at night. But when I started putting my energy, a lot more energy toward athletics, you know, toward my skills, and I started learning and studying film, and then my game started going up even better. Then I started getting a little recognition from guys coming by, you know, scouts from the NFL coming by, and Coach Johnson saying, hey, go get Roger out of class and come over here and meet these guys. And then you start having a conversation, and guys start saying, you know, you possibly got a chance to get an opportunity.
How did you end up in Denver?
Well, that was a long story. You know, I didn't get drafted, and then Denver Dallas and Green Bay was the teams that was most interested in me. And then,
Even though they don't draft you, they still have other.
they have guys out, and this was the intriguing part. Another part of the story. They call you up during the draft, and they say, hey, we got you on the board. We're looking at you, but if you don't get drafted, we're gonna have a guy call you, and he's gonna come get you, and you go with him, and then when we draft you, we'll bring you out. If we don't draft you, we want to sign you as a Class A free agent. And I was with Dallas, and the guy was like, hey, we had us in a hotel and over on the beach side in Daytona. He's like, whatever you want, we'll buy it. And I was like, well, I want some of that New York style pizza. He's like, where's that at? I said, it's down to A1A. He said, well, go get it. He gave me $100, and then I go out the hotel, and I'm walking and getting ready to catch a cab, and then a car pulled up, and it was a guy by the name of Lyle Huggins. He was one of the chief scouts for Denver. He pulled up, and he was like, hey, you Roger Jackson, right? I said, yes. He said, come on, ride with me. I said, no. Then he put his ring out the window, the old Denver Dallas Super Bowl ring, and he's like, come on, bud. I got in the car. He said, if you want to make it in the league, I know you're up there with Dallas, because the guys on campus done told me the story, that they came and got you earlier. He said, but you can make our team. And he said, you probably won't be drafted. He said, Dallas is pulling your leg that you're going to be drafted. They're going to draft you, mister. And he said, I want to sign you. So he took me to another hotel. Now, mind you, I got the Cowboys $100.
And the pizza.
And the pizza. And we went to that hotel. The draft was over with, and they pulled out a big suitcase and had about $15,000 in it. So he's trying to negotiate with me, and then we get up. I said, he wanted to sign me for $1,000, and I was like, man, no. I said, that was already talking.
You'd already seen that suitcase,
right?
hadn't you? Yeah.
So he's talking, and I'm telling him, no, and so we get up to $10,000. He said, well, I can't negotiate anymore. We got to call the office. So we called the office, and then I started talking to Reed Johnson and Coach Dan Reeves, and they said, well, you got an agent? I said, yeah. So now I give my agent number, and then lied to me. Why you didn't tell me you had an agent? I said, you didn't ask. So they started with my agent, but before it was over with, I signed that night, and my agent called me and said, hey, go ahead and sign it. So I signed the papers, and then they told me, what my signing bonus was, and I got all of that $15,000 that he had in the briefcase. And he said, I just need my briefcase. And so I put it in a bag and went back to campus. But I wound up being the highest paid free agent, rookie free agent for the first 3 years in the league, because they signed me to this contract because other teams wanted me, but Lyle believed in me that he said, give him what he want. And so, everything took off from there.
So now your years with Denver, what was it like for the team, the teams you played for?
The first year we had a strike, and we was 2-7, and all we had to do was win one game. We went to the playoffs. Be 3-6, and the older players was like, that's a pay cut, And I'm like, it ain't no pay cut, So I had a tandem in the locker room, and Coach Reeves came down, and he was like, what's going on? I said, these players here, these old guys, they saying it's a pay cut and it's about winning, and and they had a little losing streak going, and he told them then, he said, if I find out any of you guys, selling out in the game, he said, you'll never play again, And so that day, that was my end, and Coach Reeves asked to,
He liked your spirit,
he
didn't
liked my spirit,
So how did you guys do with Denver while you were there?
We went to Super Bowl, we went to the playoff. I've been to the playoffs, with Denver, Kansas City, and Minnesota. I've been in the playoff 13 years out of 18 years. We won the West. I've been in 6 NFC, AFC championships.
What year was the Super Bowl?
85, 86, 87.
Those big Denver teams, weren't
Yeah,
they?
yeah. And unfortunately, during that time, they could activate you, deactivate you, and then I didn't get a chance to suit up for the Super Bowl. I played in the Super Bowl because how the roster was then. But, with Coach Reeves, he was like, it's about a team thing, and that's what he taught me about, being a team player.
Now, what ended your playing days?
Well, another guy that's better than me and another guy that's better than me.
People don't realize every day could be your last day. isn't
Every
it?
day could be your last day. And I was at practice over at Mercer, and then I was looking at, guys. I was talking to the trainer, Amos Mansfield, and I was telling him, I said, when I played in the league, I said, you very rarely saw a mistake in practice. You might do it in the meeting room, but once you get on the field, there's no mistakes. And if you make a mistake, if you make 2 mistakes, it could be 3 guys in there the next day trying out for your position. And you'll see them while you're at lunch. You'll see them at the coaches out there working them out.
We hear these big names that are up there for years, but the average player in the NFL is what, the life of 3 or 4 years?
3.5.
3.5.
3.5, And, it's pressure every day, because you come in, you joke and laugh, but then when you walk out the door and walk on the field, it's all serious business.
Your best buddy wants your job.
He wants your job.
Especially if you're the top guy.
Yeah. And see, my rookie year, I beat out 10 other veteran guys that had 4, 5, 10 years experience. And then I come down and I wind up being a nickelback, out of 12 defensive backs. Well, it was 17. But my rookie year with all the rookies, it was 42 defensive backs. And I was the only rookie defensive back to make the team.
From playing in Denver, you went into scouting. And now, what's that like?
That was great. It keeps you around the game. And one of the guys, now, when I told you how this story is going to evolve, the guy, Lyle Huggins, who stole me from Dallas, he the one that recommended me that I go into scouting. He told me every year, he said, because I was a real smart guy, and I could I learned the playbook playbook's this big. You get 2 of them. And I learned that playbook in like 3 days. And Lyle was like, Joe's never had a guy like you. Talking about Joe Collier.
Yeah.
And he said he don't usually play rookies. And mind you, Dennis Smith was the first-round draft pick the year before I came. He didn't play until my rookie year. And then I played my rookie year. Me and him was coming in together, nickel and dime. But Lyle told me to say, I think you'd be a great scout. Because I would stay on Tuesday, come up on Tuesdays, our day off, and watch the guys who they brought in for tryouts.
You're scouting for what? The next game, the next week? Or?
No, you're scouting for players.
For players.
For players. You pick and choose who play for your team. A very serious, a very important position for the team. Because if you pick bad players, the coach don't have good players to coach.
Yeah.
And when a team is losing, all the scouts, when we at Mercer, and your team lost yesterday, like, wonder what your coach is saying. He ain't got no players, And then when you're winning, then the scouts say, oh, they winning because I picked the good guys.
You have anybody out there that you're supremely proud of that you spotted early? Probably a lot of them.
It's a lot of them, and not that you spotted them, because everybody know about everybody. Every team knows about all the players.
They all knew about you.
Yeah. But the thing about it is, do you jump on the table for that player? One of the guys that I jumped on the table for was Randy Moss, because nobody had him going in the first round. And I have my report now at the house that when I wrote my report was, this guy should be a top 3 player, taken. I was being that what everybody said about his background, and I wrote his background up, he's squeaky clean, coach. He's had some problems, but he had some problems because of who he was dealing with.
Did you go up there to West Virginia to see him?
I stayed a week up there. I pretended to be a student. I went to the club. I went in on campus. I just portrayed to be, because I was younger then. So I looked like a student, And I wore the cut-off jeans and all of that there. And I went to places that Randy went to. And I got my background straight on him. Because I knew what it was going to come up to. It wasn't about his ability. It was about his history off the field.
Yeah.
And I talked to numerous of people, females, his father-in-law, the girl, his baby's mother's dad. But I talked with him. He didn't know who I was. But when it came down for the draft, then I found out who his brother was. His brother played at Ohio State with Orlando Pace and Corey Stringer. John Cooper flipped a coin. I was at practice. Who was going to start at left tackle, right tackle, and then the third one was going to be a tight end. He had 3 number-1 offensive tackles in the country, high school players. And Randy's brother lost the toss. He played tight end. And I'm at the Wisconsin game that Saturday. He catches a touchdown. But then he never plays again. I found him at the Boys and Girls Club in Winston-Salem and brought him to Denver the year before we drafted Randy.
Yeah.
And he wound up playing for us, you know. And he was only like 2 years removed from college because he flunked out.
Yeah.
But, you know, my report said Randy would never drop to us. And if he dropped to us at 22nd, I'd be on the table. Randy, when we got to 16 and Dallas passed on him, Coach Green looked at me and said, "You better get on the table."
Well, how many years did you scout?
13 years.
And then you came back to Macon?
Yeah.
And what did you start up down here?
I taught school at Rutland Middle School. I coached soccer. I was the first soccer coach for Rutland Middle School. And we went to the city championship, you know, with Dr. Hall as the principal. She took a chance on me, you know.
I knew her.
Yeah, great lady, you know, and she guided me. And at the time, well, and teaching is different. I'm from the old school, Coach Brody, Coach Reynolds.
I had a lot of
Coach
coaches
Henson.
and teachers. Believe me, it's different.
And they were from Goop Steiner era, you know,
Yeah.
Tommy Nixon,
Yeah.
you know, those are great coaches. But they're hard nosed.
They were enforcers,
Those
too.
enforcers, those are Marines, jarheads. And the thing about it is, I have the same attitude now, but I adjusted. And they had rules, and I didn't like rules. You know, I'm old school. And Dr. Hall said, "Coach, you can't do that. Coach, you can't talk like that. Coach, you can't say that." So
Can't hit them with yardsticks.
no, and you know, and so I had a principal. Then I was at Macon with Ron Taylor and Ron and Raynette. You know, Raynette hired me
Yes,
on,
yes.
and they was like, you know, maybe you need to start your own program,
And you did.
and I did.
What's it called?
Motivating Youth.
Tell us about it.
It's an after-school summer youth program. It's a year-round program where we tutor and mentor young boys and girls. You know, we are, I like to say, consider ourselves as the crutch to Bibb County schools. You know, what they can't get in 8 hours, they can get it in 2 hours with us a day. And we've had a lot of kids come through the program. We got a lot of kids that have gone off to college. We got kids in college now. We got about 50 in the last 7 years. I think it's 48, 52 have graduated from college. You know, we still got about another 40, 50 in college. Financially, we helped over 262 kids financially through, you know, our fundraising with my fraternity and through Motivating Youth.
Yeah, what are the fundraisers?
We had, I stepped out on the ladder and I had a parent that had a $1 million house down in Jones County, you know, and they came to me and they was trying to get from up under the house on the mortgage, and then that's when things was crashing in 2009, 10, and they said, well, why don't we try to raffle it off? And they brought all the information to me about a raffle and the raffle people, and they said, well, you know, if we raffle it off, we have to pay the house off, and then you keep all the money for the foundation. I said, I can do that, you know. And I talked to Mr. George Yeoman, and he said, that's a lot of house. That's a lot of tickets to sell, you know. Because he was one of my first supporters of the program.
Every
Mr. Yeoman.
year.
Yeah. And we didn't, and then the family had put the house in second and third mortgage, and tax people was calling, and I said, I know the whole deal. I said, I got to sell $2 million worth of tickets. That's 20,000 tickets.
In
I said, in Macon at $100. And I'm like, I know we're not gonna sell that. I said, so y'all don't have to keep calling me saying I'm gonna have to pay y'all off, because it ain't gonna happen, you know. And the rule was, if we don't raise a certain amount of tickets, then we get to keep all the money, the foundation. Mr. Yoke said, you can't lose with that one. So we wound up selling 890 tickets. That was $89,000. So once we paid off all the bills, and then we still had the drawing, and the rules was in there, that we divide the money with the winner. I gave the winner, she got $20-some thousand. She was so happy.
You were happy.
I was happy.
Everybody was happy.
Everybody happy. But then the next year, Mr. Yeoman say, "You're not going to do that house again?" I asked, "No, sir." He said, "Why don't you try doing a car? We'll set you up with a nice car."
How'd that work out?
That worked out great. That worked out
You
great.
did that for how many years?
I did that for 7 years.
What's coming up? Do you have any fundraisers now?
Not right now because of the pandemic, and we toned it back. Yeoman Chevrolet was sold to Butler,
Yes.
and haven't been able to put things together quite yet. But that fundraiser and with Mr. Yeoman and Yeoman Chevrolet was one of the best things that happened to motivating youth.
So how can you keep the school going?
We write grants. I beg, and I beg some more. I ask for people for donations, but we've been able to maintain things to our grant writing.
So you see a future bright for...
Yes. Because one of the things, people will support a good youth organization that's run well. And I think my staff has done a great job in running the program and doing what we say we're going to do and enhancing these young people's lives through education. My part is to go out and find the money and keep it afloat. My staff, Ms. Boatwright, and all the other people are there to run it because they are educators.
How many kids can you handle at a time?
We've been up to 210 kids
My goodness.
over a summer.
Where are you located?
905 Main Street in the
That's
Family
out
Investment Center.
In the investment center out
Yes,
there. Yeah.
over there with the director of the investment center, Ms. Karen Middleton, through the Macon Housing Authority.
What's your biggest need these days?
Money. Money, you need finances to make things run smoothly, and how today is, we can use technology, and we've had some good things that happen to us through other groups who have donated computers and laptops and tablets and all kind of things. But those things get old quick, in today's world. But financially, we've been able to maintain a good cohesiveness of our staff and our students and giving them what they need.
Who can come there? What kind of child can come there? Or
From
are
5-year-olds to 13-year-olds, and any kid, no matter your parents' financial greatness or their financial less,
Yeah.
I mean, we're not tied to you have to be an underprivileged kid.
Yeah.
We're tied to just helping kids.
Now, if people want to get in touch with you, how can they do that?
They can call my phone at 478-320-4756, or they can email me at motivatingyouth@yahoo.com, or they can go on our website. It's moyofoundation.com.
Well, that's great, Roger. You didn't get around it. You do radio for the Mercer football games.
I am the radio analyst. Rick Cameron is play-by-play, and Charles Davis our sideline reporter for the Mercer Bears, and we're getting ready to open up October the 10th against Jacksonville State over in Jackson, Alabama, up there. But I've been doing that for 9 years now, and I guess I say Rick brought me on as his analyst, and we've been a great partnership working for Mercer University. Mr. Underwood has been a great president, and Jim Cole has done an outstanding job athletically.
Isn't it wonderful to have a football feeling here in the fall?
Man, I tell people all the time, this is the only game in town. You got a college football team here. They got outstanding athletes. You got an outstanding program. And Mercer sits right in the middle of Macon, and you can get on and off of the highway. And you can go through downtown. But, I mean, it's a great feeling. Jim Cole has done a great job. Mr. Underwood has done a great job at putting the product together. Who can put a product together? And they did this in 2 years,
Yes,
back
they
in
did.
2011 and 12.
Roger, we're out of time. We need another hour, don't we?
Like Rick said, we haven't seen a microphone we didn't like.
Well, thank you very much, and
Thanks for
good
having
luck
me.
with everything.
All right, thank you.
And thank you for joining us. I'm Ron Wildman here at WMUB TV.